Hey everyone, Justin here. So I've been talking a lot about Tesla stock lately on this channel, and a lot of those videos have focused primarily on the day-to-day price movements of Tesla stock, which for most investors can be really helpful. But in today's video, I want to focus more on the long-term future of Tesla stock, and I want to explain why I believe 2021 could signal the beginning of the end for the legacy automakers. And the reason I am making this video is because of recent comments by Toyota CEO Kiichiro Toyoda. Essentially, in this article, he casted doubt on the electric vehicle movement, and he predicted there would be catastrophic consequences if we push for EV adoption too quickly, which I do have to say he does have a good point. If suddenly governments all across the globe banned gasoline vehicles, then yes, we would have major issues. Worldwide car sales were almost 80 million units last year, and there is definitely not enough production capacity for electric cars to meet that demand. At least, not right now. But I think most of Toyota's comments are more of a smokescreen and a distraction, and it's what we've been seeing from these established automakers for a very long time now. There is no incentive for legacy automakers to switch to all-electric cars, and in a lot of ways it directly hurts their current business models, which I have talked about on this channel before. And I think it's pretty clear for people to see. Legacy automakers have spent decades perfecting how to build ICE vehicles, and companies like Toyota have very big competitive advantages from many years of experience. So for a new car company that makes ICE vehicles to come in and try to compete with Toyota would be laughable. But Toyota has a big problem on their hands right now. Tesla does not make ICE vehicles. Tesla makes electric vehicles, which is very different. Electric vehicles require different supply chains, different manufacturing facilities, different sales channels, and they are very simple to build compared to the complexities of building an ICE vehicle. So if it was up to Toyota and these other legacy automakers to make electrification happen, then I'm convinced it would never happen. But the more misinformation and fear that CEOs like Toyota can spread, the longer electrification will take and the longer Toyota can hold on to their competitive advantage, and therefore make a lot more money. Now, I do have to give Toyota some credit, I guess. Toyota is the world leader in hybrid electric cars, and they say that they have plans to invest $13 billion into electrification over the coming years. Also, they announced a joint partnership with battery supplier Panasonic to supply batteries for all of their EVs sometime in the future. But my biggest problem with Toyota is that they aren't showing any urgency. They seem perfectly fine with where they currently are, and they are fighting the future trends in a lot of ways. Toyota might sell a lot of hybrid electric cars, but they do not sell any fully electric cars yet. Contrast this with Volkswagen, who already has multiple all-electric vehicles for sale and has plans to invest $37 billion into EVs, the most of any legacy automaker. Also, VW invested in battery startup QuantumScape, and recently QuantumScape has been making headlines with demonstrations of their new solid-state battery technology. But even with all of the proactive investments, VW is still behind Tesla at the moment. VW only expects to produce 1 million EVs by 2023, and Toyota is even worse. Toyota only expects to manufacture 1 million EVs by 2030. Compare that to Tesla, who is projected to sell 800,000 to 1 million EVs as soon as 2021, which puts them in the lead in a big way. Now, with that being said, it is possible that these legacy automakers can quickly catch up. And like I just mentioned with VW, they are doing quite a bit of work to catch up as quickly as possible, which I do applaud them for. VW is realizing that the electrification trend is happening a lot sooner than the experts predicted. And instead of trying to fight it like Toyota is doing, they are embracing it. And if their investments in QuantumScape pay off, then VW could really make a run at Tesla. But the biggest problem I see with most legacy automakers out there right now is the mindset of their top executives. Something I really admire about Elon Musk is how he breaks things down to what he likes to call first principles. Instead of relying on existing preconceived notions about a subject, first principles thinking seeks to boil the problem down to its most basic truths or elements. Instead of arguing that EVs don't work because they haven't worked in the past, Elon instead started with first principles thinking when he founded Tesla. He envisioned a world where instead of centralized energy production, we had decentralized energy production. He envisioned a world where energy can be created from renewable sources instead of finite energy sources that pollute our environment. And he envisioned a world where instead of oil, we could use renewable energy to power our cars instead. And instead of looking at how things currently are and saying that this new reality was not possible, he used first principles thinking to come to the conclusion that it was in fact possible, and that it was a better way of doing things. You can put solar panels on your roof and store the energy in a battery. You can plug your car in overnight at your home and not have to worry about filling up at your local gas station. You can drive your car around knowing that it is not spewing exhaust into the air. Also, you can get a much better product, one that is faster and comes with upgraded software features such as full self-driving. So first principles thinking is always asking two questions. What is the best way of doing something, and is it possible to do it in this new way? And if the answer to both of those questions is yes, then you pursue it. So while EVs are not currently practical or an option for a lot of people, over time this is where we are going. Now, the problem for established automakers is that this new future does not directly benefit them. And when I say benefit, I really am talking about money here. These legacy automakers like Toyota do have a vested interest in preserving the status quo and ultimately preventing change. And like I said earlier, not only will electrification not be financially rewarding, but it will also cost these legacy automakers billions of dollars in new investments. So for me, I see right through the Toyota CEO's comments, and I see them for what they really are: a refusal to accept where we are going and his willingness to push out misinformation to protect his company's bottom line. And let's be honest, he is not alone. Now, one of the best examples of first principle thinking when it comes to electric vehicles centers around the cost of the battery packs. Established automakers like Toyota and others have consistently focused on the cost of the battery packs. And the argument they make, in my opinion, is a silly one. Instead of saying that battery costs will improve over time, legacy automakers have instead used it as an excuse to not produce any electric vehicles. And short sellers have also used this argument to try to say that Tesla was not a feasible company. But let's look at a quote from Elon himself where he uses first principles thinking to debunk this assumption. I want to read his full quote first, and then we will discuss it. So here it is. Somebody could say battery packs are really expensive, and that's just the way they will always be. Historically, it has cost $600 per kilowatt hour, and it's not going to get much better in the future. However, with first principles thinking, you say, what are the material constituents of the batteries? What is the stock market value of the material constituents? It's got cobalt, nickel, aluminum, carbon, some polymers for separation, and a seal can. Break that down on a material basis and say if we bought that on the London Metal Exchange, what would each of those things cost? And you'll find it's like $80 per kilowatt hour. So clearly you just have to think of clever ways to take those materials and combine them into the shape of a battery cell, and you have batteries that are much, much cheaper than anyone realizes. So this quote to me, I think, sums up why legacy automakers are finished. And I don't think all of them will go bankrupt, since electric cars aren't really that hard to make in the first place. But Tesla is moving very aggressively towards this new electric future, and they are solving a lot of complex problems along the way, all of which will result in competitive advantages in one form or another. So why do I say 2021 specifically could be the end for legacy automakers? Well, Tesla is doing two big things next year that will solidify their position as the leader in this new EV market. The first is that Tesla is on track to potentially hit 1 million EV sales by the end of next year. And the demand for their vehicles is currently greater than the amount they can actually produce. So we can safely assume they will be able to sell all of them. And in my opinion, being able to sell 1 million cars in a single year is a really big milestone for Tesla. The two biggest automakers in the world right now, Toyota and VW, each sell roughly 10 million cars a year. which seems like a big gap for Tesla to catch up. But Tesla does have plans to open their Austin factory and Berlin factory by the end of 2021, which will add a lot to their production capacity. Also, every car that Tesla sells does have the ability to earn Tesla additional revenue through things like software updates, full self-driving software, and additional energy products such as solar panels and their Powerwall battery pack. And it looks like full self-driving could be a huge source of revenue in 2021, as the initial beta release in the US is currently going really smoothly. And Tesla is now hopeful that they will be able to expand that access to Norway and Canada sometime soon, which I will assume will happen sometime in 2021. Now, one thing I do have to say is that yes, Tesla's market share will continue to decline as they produce more vehicles and as more companies start making electric vehicles. But this is to be expected. And currently Tesla controls a whopping 18% of the global EV market, with VW coming in a distant second. And based on this chart, you can see why VW is my favorite to take market share away from Tesla in the future. But the biggest disruption that will come this year, at least I hope it will come this year, will be the Cybertruck. The Cybertruck, in my opinion, is where you will see these legacy automakers really start to panic. The Cybertruck is definitely geared more towards the North American markets, and this is for good reason. This is because the top 3 selling cars in the US are all trucks. The Ford F-Series pickup came in first place with 589,000 units sold. The Chevrolet Silverado came in second with 409,000 units sold, and the Ram pickup truck came in third with 402,000 units sold. Combined, that is almost 1.4 million trucks sold in the North American market in 2020. And keep in mind that these numbers are only for January through October of 2020. So if the Cybertruck can capture even a fraction of that market share, then that would give a big boost to Tesla's sales numbers. Also keep in mind the 800,000 units Tesla is expected to deliver in 2021 does not include the Cybertruck. So the Cybertruck is going to be huge for Tesla moving forward. And since pre-orders for the Cybertruck are already at a staggering 650,000 units, this could spell big trouble for established automakers such as Ford and GM, who rely heavily on truck sales at the moment. So like I said in my last video, 2021 most likely won't be a crazy year of big product reveals and big announcements from Tesla. But I do think we will look back on 2021 and see it as the tipping point in the trend towards electrification. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button. Also check out my channel where I have a bunch of other great videos that you might find interesting. Also hit that subscribe button if you have not done that already. And with that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.